Hey everybody, Ryan here coming at you with my silent movie marathon. Yes, my silent movie marathon. I've wanted to do this for a while. I'm a big fan of silent cinema, and I think most of the greatest films ever made came out during that time period. It really just was a magical time. Brand new ideas and no remakes. And it was something where people had to push their creativity. They didn't have access to using, synchronized sound for their films, so they had to make sure that the story and the visuals were good enough to keep your attention. And I've been wanting to do this for a while, like I said. Me and my buddy Luke, Razorwirereviews, we always go off and on of, being in the moods of watching, silent films, and, he'll go through his mood, and then I'll go through mine where I just want to watch nothing but silent films. And we've built our library extensively in terms of silent cinema. And last year he did a silent movie marathon for the Blu-ray Brothers channel, which is the now defunct channel that me, Luke, and Robbie Webster did. We always told ourselves that, if we were going to do a channel like that together, we were going to do it to the best of our abilities, 100%, and if life starts getting in the way, we don't want to put out half-assed videos. So we just decided to go ahead and scratch it. We kept the channel. We still have the channel up though. But Luke did a silent movie marathon for Marathon Week on the Blu-ray Brothers channel, and I always wanted to do a silent movie marathon as well. Well, recently he started talking to me about how he's doing his second silent movie marathon this year, and I said, you know what, I'm going to be in that, and I'm definitely going to participate. And basically, there really isn't any guidelines. It's just something that he wanted to, start for his channel. And so I'm just going to do my own thing and just, it'd be my silent movie marathon. Now, this year's will be his second. This will be my first. So even though it's the Luke Ryan second annual silent movie marathon, it's still going to be my first. So, you could look forward to seeing this as an ongoing annual thing on my channel as well. Today is July 6th. Let me see. July 6th. It's 9:53 in the morning. I just got done running some errands. So how are you doing today? I'm doing great. It's all good in the hood. I just really need to get the shirt in the picture. I haven't worn this shirt in a while. But, yeah, today's July 6th, 2015, and it's still in the morning, so I want to go ahead and start my marathon off. This isn't going to be, a consecutive marathon. It's going to be more of, my silent movie marathon throughout the next few days. Unless today I end up wanting to watch, 4 or 5 different silent films, but the first one I'm watching is actually very epic length, but it is split into 2 parts. So I might watch the first part, open up the marathon, and the second part, close the marathon. First up, I'm going to be watching the Kino Classic Special Edition Blu-ray of one of my all-time favorite directors, and one of my all-time favorite silent films, and one of my all-time favorite fantasy, adventure, fantasy adventure type film. And that is Fritz Lang's monumental epic, Die Nibelungen, from 1924 is when the first part came out, Siegfried, and the second part of the film, Kriemhild's Revenge, 1925. The first part's about 149 minutes, and the second part's about 131 minutes. And, oh man, this movie is just... This is brilliant, right here. Basically, the first part of it is, how you have Siegfried. He's kind of a adventurer, warrior. He's your typical hero for, the fantasy adventure kind of story, as you can see on the front. And I really don't want to give a lot of this away. I might do a little bit of a spoiler review later in the marathon video, but I'm gonna have a spoiler thing on screen. I might even have it to where I turn the screen. I don't know. I don't know when I'm gonna do it. I might not even do a spoiler-filled one. But basically, you know, it's a two-parter, and it's really just two films, not necessarily two parts, but it's two films that's considered into one. And basically, Siegfried is on an adventure. I don't want to tell why, because I will get into spoiler territory. And he battles dragons, and you know what? I probably am going to do a spoiler thing after I watch the first part of the movie, because I really want to be able to describe it in a way that doesn't blow it completely. This is going to be a lot of editing. So let's go ahead and get started with this, shall we? God, this is stunning. Stunning. Alright, let me try this again. Wait, let me pause it really quick. Now, this is the second time I've tried to record this. The first time, it just sounded like a diarrhea of words coming out of my mouth. Yeah, so I'm about 2 hours and 5 minutes into part one of Dina Malungen, and that is Siegfried. Siegfried was released in 1924. So it's been quite a while since that happened. It's a little bit more than a 30th anniversary, I guess you could say. It's closer to the 90-plus year mark. But basically, for those of you who have not seen Siegfried or Dina Malungen at all, part one, Siegfried, is about a man of the woods, I guess you could say. And I'm sure there's a better answer to that. But, let me... Alright, there we go. I would say, you know, he is part of this kingdom of so-and-so, but, let's be honest, I'm not going to remember exactly what the name of that is. So basically, it's this guy that's just out in the middle of the woods and in a little village of where him and all of his, like, you know, villagers and stuff like that live. And he has some significance to his role in the village and where he comes from. But I will get tongue-tied if I try to explain all that stuff. Because all you need to know is that he's a very heroic type of guy. Almost like a Robin Hood type of, you know, big and strong. And he kind of looks like, I mean, I know this movie's German, but he kind of looks like a German... what's his name? Douglas Fairbanks or something like that. Somebody like that. And basically he hears these stories about the faraway lands where there's a, you know, a princess somewhere, and he says, you know what? I'm very much summarizing this. I'm dumbing it down a lot. Because I just filmed this and I kind of went off on a tangent and it just did not make sense. He's basically like, you know what? I want that woman. I'm gonna be her husband. So he goes on this adventure through a forest with creatures and a dragon and all that crazy awesome stuff. And he slays the dragon, bathes in the dragon's blood, which gives him, you know, invisibility and all these powers. And so he goes and gets his woman. Well, he gets there and it's not going to be that easy. The princess's brother is actually the king, and he's like, okay, well, you want her? I'm going to give you her if you give me, and he talks about an Iceland queen. I'm pretty sure she's a queen. And basically it's like, okay, you get me that girl, and then I'll get you my sister. And all that stuff happens, and Next thing you know, people find out. People assume that basically deceit and lies gets brought up, and it turns everybody against each other, and all of a sudden, Siegfried, the man, the heroic guy that we've all, cared for up until this point, everybody wants to kill him, and basically, spoiler alert, he ends up dying. And then the second film is about the revenge that his wife gets on her own family because of his death and all that stuff. So, whoa. Sorry about that. But yeah, great film, masterpiece. I don't know when I'm going to watch the second part yet, but it'll probably be at the end of the marathon, whether it's today or in a few days. So. Yes, I still have not done this marathon yet. I'm watching Luke's for inspiration. I really want to do it. Hold on one second. Let me turn Luke down a little bit. Okay. I tried to do this marathon in July. I believe it was in July. I think July 6th. I tried my best to do this. I watched Dina Belungen, Fritz Lang's film. I watched the first part, Siegfried. And I don't know what happened, but that was going to be the start of me doing this marathon. But, I love silent films. I don't know what the heck has got into me. I have not been able to get around to doing this marathon yet. So I think this week is the week I'm going to do it. Or next week, over the next couple weeks, I think I'm going to do it. I'm going to try to watch one film a day over the next couple weeks, and then that could be my marathon over a couple weeks. So yeah, I'm actually just watching Luke's, trying to get some inspiration. I pretty much already know what I'm going to be watching, though. Some stuff I think I've only not seen. Well, I've seen one of them, and I own it. Everything else is on Netflix, and it's stuff that I've been wanting to see, and I plan on buying. For the marathon's sake, I'm going to just do it on Netflix. So, yeah, what's today's date? Hold on one second. Got my phone down here all. It is about 13 after midnight on September 7th, which is 13 days from my birthday. So I have a few days off between now and then, and so that's why I'm going to be trying to do that marathon then. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this marathon. I've been wanting to do it since Luke first did his, which is right here. He did it for the Blu-ray Brothers channel. So yeah, over the next week and a half or so, I'm going to be doing this marathon. So I'm excited. All right. Like I said, in the coming weeks, this is going to happen. In the next couple weeks, I'm doing this. And in order to motivate myself, I have my original poster that I did for this little promo. I'm putting it on Facebook, and I'm about to enter and formally announce this video. So until next time, I'm going to bed. Alright, everybody. Well, it is. Let me see. I'm getting Netflix up right now on the TV. But it is Monday, Labor Day. So happy Labor Day to each and every one of you, even though by the time you see this, probably a month or so has already gone by. It is September 7th. And the last thing I filmed for this, I think, was a little less than 24 hours ago, before I went to sleep last night, which was early this morning. And I was talking about starting this marathon. And so, yeah, that's what I'm getting ready to do. I just went and got some water. Lately, I've been eating a lot of acidic foods, whether it was, spaghetti with, a red sauce or pizza. But today for lunch, I had a quesadilla. Delicious, but I think I put too much salsa in there. Because I got some really bad heartburn. So I think before I get started, I'm going to go get some Zantac. Alright, so this is what I got. I got some ranitidine, which is basically exactly what Zantac is. And I got some Tums. Both of these are Target brand, so let's go ahead and have some, shall we? Oh, man. Hopefully this helps. So, yes, I am starting my marathon tonight, and I'm pretty sure the way I'm going to work it out is I'm going to maybe do about a film a night some nights, or for a few days, and then maybe spend a couple of days off having double features or triple features. And I want to try to fit in as many silent films as possible for this marathon. I could really watch silent films forever, really, but in terms of making a video, I want to try to fit as many in here as I can. So we'll see how long that'll go, or how long I'll be able to go. So the first film I'm going to watch is a film I've never seen before. Shockingly, I've never seen this, being a huge fan of Buster Keaton, and I'm going to be watching 1924's Sherlock Jr., which is starring Buster Keaton, written by Clyde Bruckman, Gene Havez, and Joseph A. Mitchell. And it also features Catherine McGuire, Joe Keaton, and Ward Crane. And yes, 1924 is when this movie came out. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and pop that in. I think I'm going to be watching plenty of Buster Keaton during this marathon, because I've always been a big Buster Keaton fan, but there's been still a few of his films that I've never seen, and I want to watch as many of his films as I can. Like, The General is one of my all-time favorite films. I love it, love it, love it. Steamboat Bill Jr. I love. And I have watched a lot of his shorts. I remember there was a period of time where I was renting a bunch of silent films from the library on VHS. That was back when they had VHS. And I would rent some of those tapes that had Charlie Chaplin on it, some of his public domain type stuff, and I used to do the same thing with Buster Keaton. But here's the catch. It was so long ago, I don't really remember. So, yeah, I'll be probably talking about my history with silent film little by little throughout the whole marathon. So you'll be able to hear my history with silent film. But, yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and start The General. Talking about The General made me make a mistake. I'm going to go ahead and start Sherlock Jr. So let's go ahead and do this. Well, I just got done watching Sherlock Jr. It's a lot shorter than I thought it was going to be. I think it was only like 44 minutes or 47 minutes. Um, yeah, so I just got done watching Sherlock Jr. and I looked it up and just a little bit of trivia. I looked it up and they say that when Buster Keaton previewed the film to an audience or so, or a couple audiences or something, um, that after he did that, the response wasn't great, and so that's why he cut it down. He kept cutting it down until people started enjoying it pretty much, and that's why it's so short. It's down to like 40 something minutes. But I definitely think that was a smart thing. I don't know what would have been left in, because this film was frame after frame after frame after frame of brilliance. You have Buster Keaton's character, who is a projectionist, and the theater itself looks like it's a. It doesn't look like it. It looks like you're an average theater, messy, trashy, and so he's a projectionist, and he's outside sweeping up the crazy, messy doorway with like all the tickets and papers and stuff. The movie started out with him reading a book called How to Be a Detective. And so he's in front of this movie theater, sweeping, and somebody comes up and says, "Oh, I dropped $1." He gives them $1. Somebody else comes up, says they dropped $1, so on and so forth. And so I forget if he actually had $1 already in his pocket, but I'm not sure. But I think he grabbed $1 off the ground, another dollar that was still down there, and I can't remember if he already had it in his pocket or he picked it up off the ground. But he goes and buys a box of chocolates for $1, and he goes to his, I guess you could say his crush. He goes to the beautiful girl's house to give her this gift, and on his way over there, he changes it from $1 to $4 to make it look like, it was a little bit pricier than $1. And so he gets there, gives it to her, and there's a lot of little awkwardness going on, like, just the usual, he is just so into her, but he's really awkward. He doesn't know how to show it, and she's kind of the same way. You get that feeling, and all of a sudden, Buster Keaton's rival comes in the door, and they don't notice him at first, and he comes into the door, and I guess it's her father. I'm not sure. He goes over to a jacket that's hanging in the house, takes a watch out, and goes and sells it and gets $4 for it, and goes and gets a gift, and then brings it to the girl, while Buster Keaton and the girl are sitting there, and she loves it, loves it, loves it. He's being neglected by this point because he got her a little gift compared to this extravagant $4 gift that the other guy gave, or I think it was $4. And all of a sudden the dad comes in. He's like, "I lost my watch. Where's my watch?" And Buster Keaton goes and sits down, picks up his book about how to be a detective, starts reading it again. He's just kind of not really thinking about it. And while he's doing that, his rival slips the little pawn note, or the seller's receipt, in his pocket about the transaction, about selling the watch. And meanwhile, he's reading this book, and it says, he really wants to be a detective, and so he is looking at the book, and it talks about how, the first step is search everybody. That's the first step to being a detective when something happens. So he starts searching everybody, saying, kind of in his mind, he's probably thinking he's going to save the day, that type of thing. And he is, he realizes that nobody has anything on him. And so then his rival says, "Well, let's search him. Let's see if he has anything in his pocket, if that's what's going to solve the case." And then they find the receipt that his rival put in his pocket. and he's basically accused of selling the gold watch, stealing it, and then selling it. And that's what he used to buy the gift with that he gave the box of the chocolates. That's what he used because he changed it from $1 to $4, and so it just started matching up. And basically, he's shunned from the house, and he goes back to the film, to the theater, and while he is watching the movie, while he's watching a movie and projecting it, it's about a missing pearls theft, and he falls asleep at the projector and dreams that he's a part of the film, and he's like Sherlock Jr. and he is solving this case. Meanwhile, he's imagining all the characters or the people in his real life that he's dealing with right now at that certain point of time. And what proceeds is stunt after stunt after stunt, and it is just hilarious. It's so hilarious and scary at the same time because he is on top of a train. He jumps off of a building onto a gate that comes down like 3 stories into a car. He goes through stuff. He breaks stuff. He's running. Well, that's not really a huge stunt, but he's running. He sinks in a boat and all this stuff, and it is insane. And like, I've always loved Buster Keaton, but it's all these little things that you're just like, this guy is brilliant, and he's hilarious, and he has that deadpan humor and that blank look on his face, but there's so much humanity there. That's the thing I like about Buster Keaton, is that even though he's not really smiling or doing any of that, there is so much humanity in that because he's not such a goofball, or he looks like a goofball, kind of like Chaplin, which I love Chaplin too, but there's a little bit more humanity in Buster Keaton's characters because I feel like we could relate to him more. And he's just going through, I mean, he's like living his dream, even though it's a dream sequence. And he's just living his dream and trying to solve this case and doing these amazing stunts. There's a hilarious scene where he's shooting pool, and it's in the middle of like the mystery and stuff, and he's shooting pool, and he says shooting pool. And I don't know what the hell is so funny about it, but it just made me laugh my ass off. He says shooting, and I don't know, it's really hilarious, but I don't want to give any more away. I kind of gave you the basic summing up of the plot, and so I'm, not going to say what happens and does he wake up and all this stuff like that, but I wanted to give you an idea of what the movie is like, because I really think it needs to be seen, and I really look forward to getting this on Blu-ray. I really, really look forward to it. I read somewhere, I guess there's a rumor of some sort that maybe Fatty Arbuckle helped direct the film, some parts of it. It's mixed in terms of the sources are conflicting, but it was around the same period of time that Fatty Arbuckle was like, it was the aftermath of all his scandal that basically ruined his career. And let me see. Yeah, there's not like anything that says for a fact that he directed it or directed part of it, but Keaton always wanted to work with him, and they say that chances are he did, but then there's other people that say chances are he didn't. But even Wikipedia shows, and a few other links show that he was actually, like, he directed some of it. I'm not sure how much of that is true, but it's just conflicting reports. It could be a complete myth. Who knows? But yeah, I definitely really enjoyed this film, and I definitely plan on breaking. I'm so tired now. It's after midnight, and I'm ready to go to bed. So yeah, it's after midnight, so that means it's September 8th. What was I gonna say? Yeah, I can't wait to get the Blu-ray, and I know the Blu-ray will be restored a little bit more, because the Netflix transfer, while it's streamed in, HD, I'm not sure that it was actual, like, it was definitely, I don't think, a remastered picture, and I'm not sure what I thought. I don't think that was the original score for it either. Parts of the score I liked, but it was kind of, parts of it were jarring because it didn't really fit, and I don't know if that's just maybe, oh, I'm falling asleep. I'm just not sure if that was maybe just something that they put in there because the original music wasn't found at that point, which maybe it is now on the Blu-ray, so we'll see. Probably by the time I finish editing this video and it gets uploaded, I will already own the Blu-ray, so who knows. Yeah, let me see if there's anything else that I could say about this film. Oh yeah, so it is on Netflix. So if it's still on Netflix when you see this video, definitely check it out. It's only 44 minutes, 47 minutes, but not a frame is wasted. And it was just such a great film. And yeah, so that's going to be it. So yes, I have watched Sherlock Jr. And I don't really, for this marathon, I'll go ahead and start. For this marathon, I'll rate some of these movies as I watch them. I'm definitely going to give Sherlock Jr., Buster Keaton, 1924, a, let's just say, the print that I saw with the music and everything like that, I'm going to give that probably like a 7 or an 8 out of 10. So let's say 8 out of 10 because the movie itself probably could be a easy 9 out of 10. 9.5 out of 10, who knows. Either way, it's an A in my book. So, Sherlock Jr. Alright everybody, how you doing? It is Tuesday, September 8th, 2015, and I'm continuing my silent film marathon. Tonight, I'm going to be doing something a little bit different than I thought I was going to do. Instead of watching a full-on feature, I'm going to watch a series of shorts by filmmaker D.W. Griffith, best known for directing Intolerance and, of course, Birth of a Nation. Now, I haven't upgraded to Blu-ray yet, but I still have the Birth of a Nation Kino Video Griffith Masterworks edition, and it has a series of Civil War films on it, Civil War shorts, and they were made in 1910 and 1911, so well over 100 years ago. And so I'm going to be watching a few of those shorts tonight, and that is what I will be doing tonight. I have it all queued up in my DVD player. And so yeah, the first one I'm going to be watching is In the Border State, 16 minutes, 1910, written by them. So, let's get started. But first, I have some sinus medicine and some Advil right over there on my coffee table waiting for me. It is, oh, I forgot to mention what time it was. It's 10:48 in the evening, and I worked about 13 hours today. I have a massive headache, but I'm in a good mood. I just have a massive headache, and I know it's related to my sinuses and allergies. They've been really bad the last few days. I'm off tomorrow, so I plan on having some kind of a double or a triple feature tomorrow. I'm still trying to figure out what I'm going to watch. May end up watching Birth of a Nation tomorrow. I haven't watched it in a few years. Probably 5 years or so since I last watched it. So yeah, let me go ahead and take this real quick. And I've bought a ton of little snacks and stuff like that. Not for tonight, but just to show off in like videos and stuff to make it a little bit more fun. Hold on, I'm trying to get my pills and stuff. Hold on 1 second. The thing I love about the smart water is that they come in these huge water bottles, and I reuse the water bottles. I have one of those Brita pitchers in my refrigerator that I just pour the tap water into, and it filters it through, and I reuse these smart bottle waters. I get them from work, and I'll probably use them for a few days. I would say maybe a week. I would use one of these water bottles, and then I throw it away because I'm not sure if they're, what's it called, BPA free, where it has those chemicals. There's actually another water brand, I forgot the name of it, but they actually make their water bottles really tough and really hard because they're made to refill them. They're all about conserving plastic, and so they don't really sell them everywhere, but you could spend, $1 or $1 or $2 on the actual bottled water brand, and you get one, and they promote reuse, like they say, reuse, like it's somebody started this company and all they do is tell people to buy once and then reuse it for a while. It's kind of a smart business decision for them, because some people just buy it to buy it, and then other people like me buy it and just refill it. And one time I had one for like 2 months, but then I just threw it away, because even though you're able to keep it and it tells you that it's made with the kind of plastic or whatever that's BPA free, and you're able to reuse it that much, this has nothing to do with silent movies, but whatever. They make it to where you can reuse that, but after like a month, just because I'm weird about thinking that there's germs in the bottle, even though they say there's not, I just didn't want to take the chance, so I would reuse it for a couple months, and yeah, for the most part, I use water bottles, but I just refill them, and I don't really care what kind of water it is. I'll drink spring water, purified water, blah, 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 all the other kinds of waters. I'll drink tap water, and I have a Brita filter that I use for my tap water, because I have pretty hard water down here in Florida, so I like to kind of filter out some of that stuff. But my Brita filter, it's not Brita, it's like one of those kind of brands, and it doesn't suck everything out of the water, but it filters all the stuff that could get caught in the pipes and stuff like that, of course. And yeah, so let's go ahead and start in the border states, shall we? Wow, that was powerful. At 16 minutes long, it was. I have tears. I have tears in my eyes. It was so good. It was so powerful. Basically, this is actually going to have a spoiler for this short, because I don't think everybody's going to go out and watch this, even though you should. Basically, it takes place in a border state during the Civil War, and it starts out with a Union soldier leaving his family, and so you're seeing him with his 2 daughters. One's an older daughter, one's a younger one, of course. And, they basically get on their knees and pray for his safety and all this stuff like that. And so then he gets up and goes. And then it moves to another segment of his daughter out in the yard, and a Confederate soldier is being chased by Union soldiers, and he runs into their yard, and he really wants some water. He's just out of breath. He's just out of it, and he just wants some water. And she gives him some water, and then she hides him from when the Union soldiers are coming through. And then, she says, okay, now you can go because basically I told the Union soldiers that you weren't here, so you can go and you need to go. She's still staying loyal to the fact that she's the daughter of a Union soldier. But she's also a human being, and so basically he goes, and before he goes, he tries to say, give me a hug, little girl, and whatever, and she's like, no, go. And she did this nice act, and so he goes, and next thing you know, it cuts to a scene of her father getting orders by his commander to go on I guess it's a perilous mission, and he's going through the woods, through the mountains and stuff like that, and he comes across a Confederate soldier who he shoots, and then a bunch of other Confederate soldiers hear the gunshots and go chasing after him, and so he's running through the woods. He gets shot in the process, and so basically he just keeps running even though he's wounded very badly, and he makes it back home. And like I said, this takes place all around his house, their like town, and very historically inaccurate, because of the situation, of course. But he makes its way inside of the house, and his daughters are there, and they basically take care of him. They're really, really, really upset, and they bring him into a back room, laying him on the couch, and they go outside, or one of the older daughter runs to get help for him. And so it's the younger daughter who helps the Confederate soldier at the beginning, and her father. And then she goes outside while the other sister goes and gets help. She goes outside and notices that Confederate soldiers are on their way to the house. And so she locks her dad in a room with her, and the Confederate soldiers come into the house and break it down and try to kill the dad. And then the main Confederate soldier turns and looks at the daughter, and it's the same Confederate soldier that she gave water to at the beginning of the short. And he goes from this tough guy, he just melts, and basically recognizes the daughter, and then basically is like, oh my gosh, I am so sorry. I am so sorry that we're doing this. I am sorry. And he doesn't say that, but you could kind of get the look on his face. And he tells his men to leave. And he stays there with the father and shakes his hand and tries to, help him. And then he notices the daughter, and he's like, okay, well, since you have help coming, I'm gonna leave, but I'm gonna save your father. I'm not gonna, you helped me, I'm gonna help you. And he says, okay, well, thank you very much again for what you did. Can you give me, basically he says, can you give me a hug? There is no subtitles at all, over these dialogue cards or anything like that. It's just purely images, the whole film. There's nothing that gives you any kind of speech. And you could tell he kind of looks at her like, give me a hug. And she's like, no. And she does that same thing she did earlier and went, go. But then she sticks her hand out to shake his hand, and she shakes his hand. He leaves. The other daughter comes back with a Union surgeon who helps bring her father back to health, and the joy in the family. But what really got me was the fact that that soldier, the way he looked when he realizes that was the daughter. And it just kind of makes me think, there was a lot of stories like that. A lot of people made stories like that about the American Civil War and how it was brother against brother, that kind of a thing. But it kind of makes you think, like, really, what? I mean, I don't know. It just all came in my head. It's like, what the heck is war for? When it comes down to it, every human being that's fighting each other, there's still that hope that every human being is kind at heart, and that it's really just, maybe ideological differences or like differences in government, that kind of thing. And it just really hit home. It really hit me. And the thing is that, like, I mean, just doing random acts of kindness, like, you don't know. And, like, I've always been a believer in bad choices have bad consequences, and bad choices have bad consequences, and good choices have good consequences. I mean, if she didn't give him water, which is the nice human thing to do, then maybe he would not have saved her dad. And and it would have just been bad on all counts. And I don't know, just the innocence that this little girl showed, like, in the midst of war. I mean, it just blew me away. And I did not expect that. I mean, a little short that I had know nothing about. I did not expect that. 16 minutes short. I mean, I feel like I just, that is, it was so powerful. It was great. And I wonder if the new Birth of a Nation has that short. The new Birth of a Nation on Blu-ray. I wonder if it has that short, because that would be pretty awesome. Yeah, and to be honest with you, I want to go ahead and leave it at that. I'm going to finish watching some of the other shorts tomorrow morning before I continue with an actual feature, because I want that one to stay in my head. I don't want to see another one. I mean, I really want to leave this marathon tonight. I'll probably end up watching another movie, like a regular movie or something like that, or a non-silent movie. But I just don't want to leave it. I don't want to. I don't know. I'm kind of torn because I really don't want to stop. But that was just so good. I'm gonna continue. I'm not gonna watch those other ones in the morning. I'm gonna watch them tonight. But I did not know it was gonna hit me that hard. Whew. But the next one I'm gonna watch is from 1910 as well, and it's called His Trust Fulfilled, and it's 11 minutes long. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that up here. Actually, I think I'm gonna go ahead and I'll show it to you in a second. Watch this first one first, His Trust, from 1910, and then I'll watch His Trust Fulfilled. So let's go ahead and get started. I don't know, maybe it's just the times that we live in, but it's so weird thinking that at one time that in filmmaking the prejudice was so prevalent that African Americans couldn't even play themselves in shorts and stuff. I mean, every African American in this short is a white person wearing blackface. See.
look at this battle scene. I mean, this battle scene was in 1910, and it's great. It was the battle scene. So, I'll show you it again in a second. Yeah, basically this is about a soldier that goes off to battle, and he leaves his house servant or house slave to watch over his family. And when the husband dies in battle, and the other soldiers make their way to their land, the house gets caught on fire. And basically the whole point of it was that the house servant, even though he's basically lived as a servant and he's living in a very prejudiced time, he still risked his life for his owners. Or his owner's wife. He kept his word. Yeah, that's really interesting. I don't think it really holds up now, like to this now. But yeah, it's still on talking about how he gave his all to help his owner. So I don't know. I just think it'd be different. I think, I know the times are not like that anymore, but it should have been played by an actual black man instead of a black or a white guy in blackface. And yeah, it's still going on now. I mean, it's good. The battle scene was really what made it great. Yeah, it wasn't bad. Yeah, it's just weird to me. I mean, I've studied, especially living in the South, I've studied so much about the American Civil War and stuff like that, and slavery and all that stuff. But this is, I guess, a good time to actually bring up this topic. But when I see films like this, when you have house slaves, risking their lives and stuff for their owner. And even though I've researched it myself, especially in college when I was researching it. I mean, I'm sure there was instances of some house slaves that really loved their owners, and their owners really loved them back. It wasn't probably always an abusive kind of relationship. But the thing is, the freedom was not there. They were considered unequal. They weren't, up to par, And so when I see stuff like this, and it was in 1910, and so there was still a lot of prejudice, it's almost like, I'm not sure if it was written with that intention, but calling it his trust and really make it almost is kind of, I mean, I don't know if it just comes across as like they were trying to justify, like, well, not all of it was bad. It wasn't always like slavery, but so that's just always what comes to my head when I see this kind of stuff, because it really shows that, the slave is willing to put his own life to help his owners. And, and of course, maybe morals has some, I mean, this is just me rambling on, and it's incoherent thought. It's just just seems to, I think in hindsight, now we're just like, yeah, it's definitely more of a justification of, well, it was, or, that kind of thing of why there was house slaves. And, I don't know. I don't really mean for this to be like a huge race thing, like race discussion. But in terms of history, you just kind of look back and you're like, man, it's so different now. And we're better for it. So we're better for, time has really healed the situation. And so, yeah, I don't think I want to watch the next one, His Trust Fulfilled. Don't really have any interest in watching it. And it's written by the same people, and I just don't. One was good enough for tonight, and the first one was a complete story, and I don't really have any interest in watching the second one written by the same people, because it'll probably be more of the same, to be honest with you, and nothing will compare to the first one in the border states, because that was just pure film magic. And there may be another one on here that's pretty good, and so I'll check that one out in the morning. I am glad, though, that I watched this next one. I'm glad I watched His Trust, because even though I didn't really care for it as much, it was really the first instance in a while of me not liking the content, but really enjoying the actual filmmaking and the battle. And so, you see him film nowadays, you're like, oh, no, I didn't really care for the film, but some of the scenes are really good. That's how I feel about His Trust. It's worth seeing just for the battle scenes, or the battle scene itself. And so, yes, that's going to be it for tonight. I hope you are enjoying this video so far, and yeah, I'll see you in the next clip. Good morning, everybody. It is 9:05. I just got out of the shower. I just got up a little while ago. I stayed up pretty late last night. So yeah, I need to get some. Yeah, this is a marathon video, so you're not going to get extraordinary lighting for these videos. But yeah, I'm just getting some caffeine. I have coffee. I have iced coffee. I have Diet Coke. I think I'm gonna go for a Diet Coke this morning. Maybe in a little while I'll have some coffee, but I need something cold. And today I'm gonna try to do a double feature or a triple feature today for my movie marathon. And I'm thinking about, it's been a while, something about rewatching Birth of a Nation, which is a very, very controversial film, of course. I've kind of referenced it last night. And the first half of the film is just extraordinary. It stands on its own, really. And then it gets into the really controversial parts towards the end, or the second half, with the rise of the KKK, which is kind of told in a positive light, which is very, I mean, it's really cringeworthy when you watch it nowadays, but the story as a whole, like, especially like the first half, is really good. Flawed, but really good. It's just a completely flawed and controversial film, but some of the historical aspects of it that they try to recreate, like some of the stuff with Lincoln assassination, that stuff's really cool. And it was the first really major feature-length silent film I ever watched, back in 1995. I think it was 95 when I watched it for the first time. And the reason why I watched it the first time is because we were watching Forrest Gump when it came out, and it was that part where he was talking about his great-great-grandfather being a Civil War hero, Nathan Bedford Forrest, and it showed the scene of Tom Hanks as Nathan Bedford Forrest on top of the horse, and he like pulls the KKK hat over his head. And I found out like that year that was actually a scene out of Birth of a Nation, that they superimposed Tom Hanks' face on it. So I watched it the next year, and
I thought it was a great movie, just very, very awkward and flawed, and because of how racist the second half is. It is one of those things where, like, most of the time when I rewatch it, I kind of watch it until the Lincoln assassination, and sometimes I'll either keep going with it, or I'll just leave it be, because the second half, not only is it just kind of, you know, you get a bunch of these characters wearing blackface and showing the KKK in a real light. I think it's the weakest part of the story, because I feel like it was just kind of tacked on, you know? That's just what it feels like. But yeah, you know, it's a movie that's incredibly flawed and controversial, but I've always enjoyed for what it was, or for what it is, basically. More of a groundbreaking kind of thing than anything else. And I don't know, I really like Birth of a Nation, and it was my favorite D.W. Griffith film for a while, but Intolerance definitely kind of went above that with the huge set design. I'm not going to be watching Intolerance during this marathon because I don't have a good copy of it. I used to, but I got rid of that DVD because it was just so terrible. But I don't know, that short film that I watched last night, the one about the what one was that? Oh, the border states one. That one was just amazing. And then of course my whole feeling was ruined by the next one. That was just completely, you know, cringeworthy in terms of how offensive it is. And yeah. But anyways, that was one of my goals for this marathon, because I have a reason for kind of going into these kind of films, and I'll be talking about it a little bit later in my video, because I actually live in Jacksonville, which is basically the I mean, I'm 10 minutes away from where Norman Film Studios is, which is a major film studio during the silent era, and in the 20s, that was basically the first studio to film all black cast in a positive light. And I'm going to be talking about it later in the video, but it was just kind of, I was going to start by watching these kind of things that showed really kind of what they did before that time, and they showed, you know, the white people and the KKK in terms of Birth of a Nation as the heroes, as the better, you know, species, I guess you could say, or the better, you know, race. And then there came a time when they realized that being ignorant was not good, and so you had people like here in Norman Film Studios that really just dedicated to hiring all black cast and actually doing successful films by portraying African Americans in a very positive light, which is awesome. And I'm very proud to live in this town because of it, because it changed the film industry and paved the way for African Americans to be in film. And I'm very proud to live in this city because of that. So yeah, let's go ahead and start getting some caffeine in my system, shall we? All right. Well, I just got done watching Birth of a Nation. It is About 20 minutes after noon now. So, yeah. I've pretty much already summed up my thoughts about the film. It's definitely important. It's definitely groundbreaking in terms of cinema goes. The first half is way superior to the second half, and the second half is just downright crazy to even think of the KKK in a positive light. So, yeah, I've already pretty much discussed my thoughts on it. So, I don't know. I think I'm going to have some lunch now. I think my wife's getting ready to come home for lunch, and because I'm off today, of course. And we'll see what I'm going to watch in a little bit. All right, everybody. I'm back again. After I watched Birth of a Nation, I watched some special features on Birth of a Nation. And all day, and really for the past few days, I've just felt really tired and really bad. And so, after that, I ate lunch, like I said, and I had to take care of a few things, so I didn't watch another movie right away. But then I just started feeling a lot worse. I think I'm just dehydrated, and because I've been working a lot this week, and I'm on my feet, and I'm constantly running around at my job. I work in a hospital, and so I'm constantly running around, and I think I just got overheated and dehydrated because I haven't been drinking enough water this week. I know that for a fact, so I gotta try to drink more water. I usually drink water anyways, but I just haven't been drinking a lot of anything this week. So, it is about 10:45 in the evening. My wife just went to bed, and I decided, I'm feeling okay. I've been blowing my nose and stuff like that all afternoon. In fact, I just got done blowing my nose. I had dinner. I was going to film making dinner, but I just wasn't feeling up to it. I just had taco salad. And I got all the way here, and I realized I forgot to pick up the sour cream. And so we had taco salad without the sour cream, which is still fine, but, it's one of my... I always like the sour cream with it, too. I usually have mine with my taco salad with nachos, lettuce, cheese, or usually like a shredded cheddar, and what is it? Lettuce, cheese, ground beef, and I usually have like taco seasoning. I usually use what brand is that? You could get the little packets to season your meat with, and I get not El Paso or some of those other ones. I always forget the brand name, but it tastes really good, and I only use half the packet because it's a lot of sodium, and I only use half the packet in like a pound of meat. I still have plenty of leftovers, and then I always put, I have a jar of mild Taco Bell mild sauce, which I use, and I use some regular salsa as well, guacamole. I usually make a nice mixture of different things, and I always only use like one scoop of sour cream, but it was definitely missing, and so I just can't believe I got all the way here, and I just forgot. I had it on the list, and I just forgot. But anyways, yeah, I had that for dinner, and I started feeling a little bit better, but I wanted to try to give it a shot to do another film tonight. And I graduated to my bigger 1 quart size bottle of water. This is in a smart, like I talked to you about, like this is tap water, but it's just in a smart water bottle because I really needed to just continue drinking water to kick whatever I'm kicking. So, yeah, I'm watching another film. And tonight, I'm watching an Alfred Hitchcock film. And it is... I know what it's called. I just forget what date the film came out. Hold on one second.
But anyways, I'm watching Alfred Hitchcock's The Lodger, a story of the London fog. Whoa, a little bit of gas there. Sorry about that. Let me see when this movie came out. I think it's like 27. Yeah. 1927 is when this movie came out. And it's about an hour and 30 minutes. It was released February 14th, 1927. And, yeah, I already got it on the TV, so. Yeah. Yeah, sorry, I didn't focus in all the way. I turned the autofocus off because you could hear the mechanical noise whenever it's doing it, and I just don't like that happening in my videos. That's the only downfall of this camera, which I love. It's just a downfall is the fact that if autofocus is on, you can kind of hear it in the video, like the mechanical noise, because I guess the microphone on this camera that's built in is right on the front, and the mechanical noise is coming from the front. So yeah, so I'm going to be watching The Lodger, a story of the London fog. Yeah, I decided to turn the light off. And it makes the film so much better. I've seen this before. It was just, I haven't seen this restored version, even though I've owned it. I've owned this version for about 3 or 4 years. I just haven't watched it yet. The last time I watched this movie was about 5 or 6 years ago. Public domain version that was barely watchable. So basically it's like watching it brand new for the first time. Alright everybody, well I just got done watching The Lodger. And for those of you who don't know what it's about, it is about almost, it kind of is like a Jack the Ripper kind of story, but not. It's basically in the city, there's somebody who keeps killing all these fair-haired women, and everybody's freaking out about it. And meanwhile, in the midst of all this, there's a lodger who a stranger who wants a place to stay, and he's called the lodger, and he goes to a house to stay in a room that's for rent, and he's very mysterious, and he has like a crush on the daughter, who's probably his age, and they kind of have a liking to each other, but you don't really know his motives because he's kind of mysterious, and you feel like he is the murderer. And it's all about how the housemaid, no, it wasn't the maid itself, it was the actual landlord and like the maid, they
are really, really getting suspicious of him because he's doing all these weird things. Like, they just keep, he's walking around, pacing around his room at night and all this stuff. And they just think that because he's into fair-haired, the killer's killing fair-haired women, and their daughter is fair-haired, that they feel like she's going to be next. And so it's all about their suspicions and stuff like that. I don't want to give any more away because in perfect Hitchcock fashion, it has twists, it has turns, and it's a wonderful, wonderful film. It starts off, the first 30 minutes or so are pretty slow because you get to know these characters a little bit. And then once it really picks up, it's like really, really good. I mean, I liked even the beginning because you could definitely tell that Hitchcock trained with some German filmmakers, because he trained with German filmmakers when he was younger. And so he was into all that German expressionism type, filmmaking. And you could see it in his sets, the shadows, there's some parts of this, it's like, I don't know, it's just, you could see it all over the place, but it's not just the shadows, it's just the way it's filmed, every shot is framed. And the thing is that there's not really a lot of, like, title cards or anything like that. Like, it's very much a silent film with minimal dialogue. Like, there is some dialogue, but, I would say... it's not nearly as much dialogue as in some other silent films. And so I wouldn't say it's like Sunrise in terms of barely any cards, of dialogue. But it was definitely minimal compared to some other films, like even like Buster Keaton or Chaplin. Even Dina Lungen didn't have, or had a lot of title cards too, or like, dialogue cues and stuff. But this one was just the right amount, and I really, really enjoyed it. I don't really remember enjoying it like this when I first saw it. I always liked it, but I didn't really... Probably because it was so long ago that I saw it for the first time, and then the second time... I think the public domain trashy version that I had took away from the experience. I probably didn't even finish watching it. But this time I'm so glad to finally have finished it, and I can't believe I've had it in my collection, for the past 4 or 5 years or so, and I haven't even touched it. So, yeah, I really, 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 really enjoyed this film. It had, what I really liked about it, like its visual style, but, it was just really, really unique. Really unique, and I could definitely see Hitchcock all over the film. But you also see a part of Hitchcock that you didn't really ever see again. Well, you probably did around this time period, but I don't know. It's just, he does some great filmmaking in terms of silent film, and he kind of reminds me. He has like almost kind of the same style that Fritz Lang had for M. Like, I noticed that a lot. Has a lot of that. It was just a great film. I'd definitely give it like an 8 out of 10. Definitely a great Hitchcock film. So yeah, I think I'm gonna hit the sack now and go to bed, and see you in the next part of the video. Hey everybody, it is September 17th, 2015. It is 10:40 in the evening, and I haven't watched a silent film in a few days. Earlier this week, I went to Disney World, as you guys saw by the video that I did for that, and by the time you see this video, a couple months would have already gone by, but you would have already seen my Disney World video. And as you can tell, probably by how I'm talking, I just recently got my voice back. When I got back from Disney World, I got really sick, and I lost my voice, and I've been coughing and stuff ever since.
But I'm feeling a lot better. I've been taking my medicine and all that stuff. Just had a little sinus infection. So yeah, tonight I am continuing my silent movie marathon. I don't know how long this is gonna last. I'm just gonna keep watching and watching and watching and watching different movies. I think I'm gonna try to watch at least 10 more silent films to include in this video. But yeah. And so I've been under the weather. And the thing is that whenever I'm under the weather and I really don't feel good, like legitimately don't feel good, I have a hard time concentrating. And I can't really, if I'm really feeling sick, I can't really watch any TV whatsoever. Sometimes I just spend hours laying in bed when I'm sick, and sometimes I'll read, I'll watch some TV shows on DVD or Blu-ray, and or I'll read. And so that's what I've been doing, and I haven't really watched a full movie. I watched Dog Day Afternoon the other day, and that was a full movie, but even then I watched it like half the movie at one time and half the movie the other time. I just can't really concentrate whenever I'm not feeling good. So tonight, I actually had to work today. I'm off this weekend. I've been off quite a bit this week, taking some time off. Today is actually the first day, tomorrow is the first day off in my 3-day weekend, and my birthday is on Sunday, so hopefully I'll feel better by that time. But yeah, I really wanted to continue this. That's why I'm recording, even though I feel like complete crap. But really want to continue this, and I really want to start watching some films, some films again. And so tonight I have decided to go with a comedy. One of my favorite silent film actors and filmmakers, and I'm talking about none other than Charlie Chaplin. And tonight I will be watching City Lights on Blu-ray. I've seen this film once, and I really, really, really enjoyed it. One thing I love about Charlie Chaplin is that, like, even though his movies are really, really funny, there's still this undertone of power and it's just some of his films, like the context of what he's trying to say about him, about society in general and stuff like that. Like, it just blows me away. And yeah, this is definitely one of his more well-known type of films, because this movie gets talked about a lot in terms of acclaim and all that stuff. Plenty of his movies were talked about, but I think this one was on the AFI's 100 Years, 100 Movies 2007 edition list, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, so I'll be checking this out tonight. I don't know about the special features though, but let's see what special features they have. Yeah, there's a bunch of special features, like featurettes, like Criterion does anyways. There's an excerpt from Chaplin's short film The Champion from 1915, along with footage of the director with boxing stars at Chaplin Studios in 1918. So yeah, we'll see how some of these special features are. But yeah, so I'm just going to go ahead and sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Alright, everybody. Well, I just got done watching City Lights, and I really just love and adore this film so much. I think it really is, in my opinion, Chaplin's, I guess you could say, his sweetest film. It's very, I don't know, it's very funny, it's very kind, and it's just a very, very good film. And basically you have Chaplin playing, the tramp, and he sees a blind woman one day on the side of the road, and he's talking to her on the sidewalk, and then when he starts talking to her, she hears a car door close and somebody get out, and so she automatically assumed it was him and that he was rich and so on and so forth. And so basically it starts out with that, and then it kind of tells another story of how one night the tramp is just walking along the streets and he witnesses a guy try to kill himself, and he intervenes and saves the rich guy's life, and he's like this big millionaire, and so he goes and stays with the millionaire, and meanwhile he still knows about this girl, and so basically it's him trying to, with the help of the millionaire, win this girl, or at least help her out. And it is such a great film. I don't want to give any more away. I could talk so long about the ending, but I don't want to blow it for anybody who hasn't seen it. I'll probably do that in another video. I'll probably do that for a Criterion Wednesday video. But yeah, the sight gags in this film were amazing. The acting in this film is top of the line. You could see the humanity in Chaplin's face. You could see the humanity in the girl's face. And you could see the struggles that each of them have in their face. Like, it's so hard to explain. I don't really feel good, so that's probably why I'm not doing a good job explaining it. But it's just such a great film. So, but I think that's going to be it for tonight. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you in a second. Hey guys, Ryan here. It is Friday, September 18th, and it's about 11:05 p.m. Still feeling sick, but today I started out terrible. I completely lost my voice earlier today, and now it's nighttime, and been, taking the right medicine, doing the right vitamins, eating the right things, drinking just water, and I'm feeling a lot better, got my voice back. So tonight, I don't know what I'm gonna watch, but I'm gonna watch something. So I'm sitting here trying to decide what I'm gonna watch, and I have stuff in my Netflix. And for some reason, a lot of the stuff on my Netflix is saying that it's only available until October 1st. Shit. That's really annoying. So that means I'm gonna have to try to watch these first. So, yeah, this is really annoying that they do that. Yeah, so I think I decided tonight I'm gonna watch F.W. Murnau's Faust from 1926. And yeah, an hour and 47 minutes. So it's an average length film. I'm a huge fan of all silent films, so of all lengths. So I was kind of hoping this one's gonna be even longer, but that's okay. So yeah, Faust. Hey everybody, I just got done watching Faust, and it is a visual masterpiece. It is your typical visual masterpiece, a film that, yes, it's silent, so of course it has to do with, tell its story with images, but each frame is so perfect and so interesting and so unique that the whole film in general is just a visual 10 out of 10. Basically, you have the movie starts out with this huge epic sequence of basically the heavens, and it's like you see a a god-like figure, like an angel, and then you see a demon. I think the demon's name is Mephisto. I think that's what it is. But basically, he makes a deal with the archangel and places a bet that he can corrupt a really great man, a wise man, into throwing away everything that is good in his life and just doing and basically corrupting his soul. And so then the benefit with Mephisto is if he wins this bet, then the devil will basically have dominion over the earth, which is a classic good versus evil type story that's been told for thousands of years, and this is of course based on the the German. Let me see. It's based on the German tale, Goethe's classic. Goethe is the author, of course. Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. I think I've actually read. Oh yeah, I've read a few of his stuff in college. But anyways, yeah, it's based on some classic German. I mean, I don't know if you would call it fairy tales, but just legendary tales and mythology and stuff. And basically, you have this man who is just so. I guess he's could be righteous, I guess, in a way, and he's just such a good man. He's a man of science and a man of faith and stuff like that, and he's just incorruptible. And so when Mephisto comes down and causes tragedy in this guy's life, he definitely just wants to throw everything that he knows away and just basically sell his soul to the devil. And that's basically like the first 30 minutes of the movie. And but that's not how this tale's gonna end up. There's gonna be more to it, and seeing it on, I don't want to give any more of that away, but seeing it unravel is just amazing. The first 50% of the story, I was hooked, and then when I was watching it, I was kind of feeling like it's kind of slowing up a little bit, and there came a point where I was actually like, man, it's really starting to drag. I don't know if it's because it's after 1 o'clock in the morning, and sometimes I'm like that with movies, but I was like, the story just doesn't seem as insane or as awesome to me right now. And so I was just laying there, and I got a drink, and I was like, there has to be a reason for this. There has to be a freaking reason for this. And of course, the ending tied all of that together, and that little slow period was needed. You needed that content that was in that area to make the ending even more powerful. And yeah, it was definitely stunning. It was a masterpiece of a fantasy film. I would put it up there with Die Nibelungen as like one of my favorite epic silent films. I definitely don't think it's like one of my favorites. Now visually, yeah, but as a whole, as a film, like a whole, I would probably give it like a 9 out of 10. But I wouldn't say it was like one of my favorite films, but it was so good. It was so good. Um, when and the thing is, D. Nibelungen is like considered like I love it. It's like one in my top 30 favorite films of all time now, I think. And when I first watched it, I've seen it 4 times now. When I first watched that, I didn't actually feel that way. I felt like the first half was amazing and the second half was lacking. And then the second time I saw it, I realized it was just two different. It was a different tone, a different style, and now, sometimes, and who knows, maybe when I watch this next time, I'll even, like it even more. But it's not that I disliked it at all. I mean, I still give it a good 9 out of 10, and it's one of the best silent films I have ever seen. But I don't know, maybe the next viewing, it may shoot up to be one of my favorites, like actual favorite films. Who knows? But it was great. The visuals were amazing, like I said, but it was like a perfect mixture of fantasy and German expressionism and shadows and just I don't know, it was just so breathtaking. I mean, some of the scenes were breathtaking. I wrote some notes on my phone that I kind of wanted to hit on with this film. My favorite part of the entire film actually was towards the beginning, and it was the part where Mephisto is basically over this city, and he's like letting the plague go over the city. Obviously, in this shot, he has his a black wing, like he has these black cloak or black wingspan, and it's just covering the whole city. And meanwhile, you see the city, around them. Obviously, it's a model, but the way it's filmed, the atmosphere, the fogginess of it, the way it's filmed, it really looks like this dude is standing over a city. And it is amazing. And the reason why I brought this up is because, I just came back from Disney World for like the millionth time in my life. And one of the things that I love the most about Disney World is what it does with the whole force perspective thing. And that's where, these people that design all these things, they do certain things to make it pull tricks on your mind. And the thing is, on a lot of Disney's rides, for instance, Peter Pan, when you're on Peter Pan's flight, there's a scene where you're in the ride and you're going over London in the store. You're going over London. And so you actually kind of see it in my Disney video that I did because I recorded the ride, but you're like going over the city of London at night and you see Big Ben and everything lit up. Obviously it's a model, but because you're in a dark ride and there's like a slight fog and you see down, it's pulling tricks on your brain to where you really feel like you're seeing a real town. And I love that kind of stuff. I love it. I'm a sucker for that kind of stuff. And you can see like little cars moving. And I know this is a silent movie marathon, but in watching the whole, PBS special of Walt Disney, he had all those like all the people who designed his rides and stuff, like the art, like they were all production designers for like Hollywood and films. Those guys knew how to do force perspective, and that's one of the things I love the most about Faust is the fact that, that's another film that uses force perspective. I was sitting on my couch and I see this character with his arms around this city, letting the cloud of black plague go over the city, and it is believable because it is practical, it is tangible, and it was pulling tricks on me. But yeah, it was such a great film. Good versus evil. all that great stuff. And I definitely think it's a film that definitely needs to be talked about more. F.W. Murnau, like, Nosferatu is like the film that everybody talks about. And so far, out of the films that I've seen of his, Nosferatu is a great film, but it is not my favorite. I think it's very much, I don't like to use the word overrated, but I feel like people should talk about some of his other films more, like Sunrise. Come on. Damn, Sunrise? Why aren't more people talking about Sunrise? Sunrise should be talked about just as much as Citizen Kane or The Godfather or Metropolis. Sunrise needs to be effing talked about. And sometimes when I watch Nosferatu, I'm like, this is what people talk about. Like, it's a great film. Visually it's a great film. But when you see other films by F.W. Murnau, you're like, why don't more people talk about these? I don't know. I mean, I guess the way I could think of it as, with me personally, it's kind of like, I love Martin Scorsese. He's like one of my favorite filmmakers, in my top 3 with Woody Allen, Martin Scorsese, and Alfred Hitchcock, and Stanley Kubrick. But you ask people a lot nowadays, and you say, what's your favorite Martin Scorsese movie? And 9 times out of 10, if you're just asking a casual person, they'll say Goodfellas. Goodfellas is a brilliant film. I think Goodfellas is a 10 out of 10. I think it is one of the best films, of that time. But to talk about Martin Scorsese and saying Goodfellas is his best film, when he's made films like Taxi Driver or Raging Bull, and not even Raging Bull, but Taxi Driver, and especially The King of Comedy, and Mean Streets, and so many, and so when you hear people just talking about one film, you're just like, why aren't people talking about these? Why aren't people talking about these? No, it looks like somebody's speeding, sounds like somebody's speeding down the street. I could think about that with a lot of other films, but, yeah. So, I'm trying to decide whether I want to continue tonight. It's already almost 2 o'clock. I think I'm going to go ahead and call it a night.